NBN News with Natasha Beyersdorf and Paul Lobb.
Tonight, the Sharks coach and other club officials stood down amid the drug scandal.
The dramatic end to an armed standoff in a Brisbane shopping mall.
And children injured in a school bus collision.
Good evening. Also tonight, family, friends and a who's who of the media gather to farewell Peter Harvey.
The drugs in sports scandal has claimed its first scalps. In a stunning development a short time ago, the Cronulla Sharks stood down club coach Shane Flanagan. They've also sacked their football manager, doctor, physio and a trainer. The Sharks have scheduled a media conference as we go to air and will bring you the developments as they happen. But first, to a report by Danny Weidler.
Shane Flanagan didn't see this coming. He met with Asada today, but he expected to be...
You, Renee Feder, NBN News.
Still to come in sport with Rabbitt tonight, Coffs Harbour prepares for the return of the national touch titles.
But first, North Korea threatens a nuclear attack over new UN sanctions.
America says it can handle any North Korean attack after a furious reaction by the rogue state over tough new UN sanctions. Top generals threatened a nuclear strike against the United States.
We'll leave that media conference for now. Of course, the latest from the Cronulla Sharks.
Ahead in the news, the drugs designed to combat ageing.
And a new campaign for our Victoria Cross winner.
Australia's waiting list disgrace. 5 years just to have a knee done. The desperate pleas from older patients for a fair go. A current affair tonight.
A young tourist has drowned in powerful surf on the Gold Coast. He was bodyboarding just outside the Flags when he ran into trouble.
A frantic attempt to revive an unconscious tourist. The 34-year-old man was seen bodyboarding in rough...
ANZ has kept its interest rates unchanged on the back of the Reserve Bank's decision earlier this week. ANZ shares rose 11 cents, while Westpac fell 4 cents on the markets today. Leighton Holdings was up 7 cents after its contract and project development subsidiary snared a $120 million deal to work on a major rail extension in Sydney. Virgin Australia shares fell after the competition watchdog delayed its decision on Virgin's proposed takeover of Tiger Airways. In the resources sector, BHP Billiton gained 27 cents, while Rio Tinto soared, finishing $1.13 higher. Overall, the market gained, and the Australian dollar is almost unchanged ahead of the release of the key US employment data. It's buying 102.43 US cents, slightly up from yesterday.
Australian scientists have made major inroads in the fight against ageing and the many illnesses associated with it. Revolutionary new drugs are being developed that could lengthen life, and they're already being trialled on humans.
It's a welcome development. New drugs are in the pipeline to combat many of the diseases that come with ageing.
This is something to improve.
Well, now to Gavin Morris with a quick look at the weather. And Gav, how's the weekend shaping up?
Well, I know viewers on the Gold Coast and the Northern Rivers really don't want to hear this, but there's just no change. It's more of the same. Onshore wind showers driving through, still lots of cloud gathering along the coast, but once you get south of Coffs Harbour, the showers really break up, predominantly fine. Pretty good across the greater Hunter, the northwest again. Another sunny, mild, humid day is on the way, but the showers in the north again, unrelenting. Your local weekend details later.
Thanks, Gav. Later in our news, our Queen of Racing gets the Queen's Racer.
But after the break, a jail term for Italy's colourful former leader.
And in sport with Rabbitt, Nathan Merritt, not Sunnyville, stars in the NRL season opener.
Italy's colourful former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi has been sentenced to a breath before the performance.
Well, it's been a sensational evening in sport.
It has indeed. Over to Mike.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, as we reported earlier, sports doping scandal has claimed its biggest scalp yet. Cronulla head coach Shane Flanagan. He's been stood down just 2 days.
Mitchell Pearce dazed. Ros Kelly, NBN News.
We've got timeouts. Coming up, the Kiwis give England some pre-Ashes jitters. And an Aussie cyclist stars in Italy.
Tonight's Sport Report, brought to you by Port Macquarie Cars. I like it like that.
Australia's Matt Goss survived wild weather in a group sprint to win the opening stage of the...
Renee Feder, NBN News.
Thank you, Renee. That is the Land Sport.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Well, on the Central Coast, a special birth kit assembly day was held to celebrate International.
It's a relief, a massive relief, and we couldn't be happier.
Weather's next.
Tonight's weather report brought to you by Coffs Harbour Blinds and Awnings and your local Luxaflex dealer.
Not a bad weekend on the way. With the details, here's Gav.
Not a bad one, not a great one either there, Paul. All thanks to this cloud, still very, very consistent and very annoying, sting a lot of the sunshine, the showers again right throughout the north, not too bad to the south. David Hoff got a great shot of Comet Pan-Stars. We've got 2 in that southwestern sky at the moment. But Kim Brent also got a shot. He climbed onto his roof. You can just see it there, but he cannot explain the 4 lights. They're faint, but they are there. They're in a dead straight line. Now, he had another 4 photos, and none of them had the 4 lights in a row. Maybe you know what they are. You can hit our Facebook page. It's all there if you've got an idea. Russell Crowe, well, he's already onto it at the moment. Loves his UFOs. Moving to the past 24-hour rain. Relatively light falls, but still consistent along the Queensland and northeastern New South Wales coast. Again, generally less than 10 millimetres from the light, isolated showers that have just been there all week. At least it's not flooding rain, but it's still not much fun at the moment. Active trough from the Gulf Country down towards the Birdsville track there. Eyre Peninsula getting a decent drink and getting a little active across the tropics again, but most of the moisture has been drawn into Tropical Cyclone Sandra, Category 1, building to Category 3 over the next 24 to 48 hours, moving away from the coast, but may turn and move back towards the southwest, and that is an issue if that occurs, particularly for Queensland. One of the models still has the remnants from Sandra coming all the way down the coast. Hopefully that will not occur. We do not need the leftover heavy periods of rain as Oswald did the end of January, so let's hope that that does not occur. Most of the models have it moving away and then moving south down into the Tasman, so let's hope it just remains away from the coast at this point. There is a little bit of activity there across Kakadu and Arnhem Land, and there's the system. It's a weak low that's delivering all the rain to Eyre Peninsula, where it has been quite welcome due to all of this heat. Record-breaking run of temperatures up and over 30 degrees right throughout the southeast Victoria, Melbourne, all the way to Adelaide. There's that system just threatening and rebuilding there right across the northern tropics. Plenty of heat pushing out towards Perth as well from the hot nor'easters. And there's Sandra, likely to be a 3 this time tomorrow night as the onshore winds continue in between Sydney and Brisbane, producing the cloud. Really, it's dominating. We're seeing more cloud than sunshine, but we still get those sunny breaks. There's the heat sliding into the southeast, and Perth, a summer's-like day on the way that could crack throughout the afternoon, evening period with thunderstorms set to flare up. 25 to 27s mostly. Up in the ranges, maxing out at around 20 after dipping down to 14, 15. A few showers around Grafton, Yamba. A few more there to the north again, stretching from Coffs all the way to the border. Very green, very lush, somewhat boggy underfoot. foot, all thanks to what has been a very wet period again. It's not connected to a La Nina at all. It's connected to warm waters that are wrapping right around the nation at the moment, as we saw earlier. Humidity still high. The winds are shifting to the south throughout today. Looking at tomorrow, not much of a change. We can see a light shading of blue. So this tells us the areas that are under threat from the showers again. Looks like it is going to contract again, mostly from Coffs up to the border and across the eastern slopes. The winds northeasterlies from Coffs down to Seal Rocks and southeasterlies from Coffs up to the border. So no change in the wind directions overall, producing partly cloudy skies. Predominantly fine though from Foster up to about Dorrigo. There's a less chance of that shower activity south of Coffs, but once we get north, the risk of those showers again continues to remain the same. So consistently pushing through, and most locations get a drink eventually. The swell is still pushing in. There's more of it to the north, not as much to the south. We're looking at about 1.5 metres overall, and the sea's not out of control thanks to those onshore winds out of the east. We've got the high there at 7:25, so it's dropping down to the low there after lunch. Sun to rise 6:43 and setting now at 7:12. Boating, moderate seas and swell. It's worse to the north. It's going to be choppy, but it's manageable. A reminder, big tidal swings this weekend leading up to the new moon, so lots of water moving around, so the bar crossings will be a little bit tricky. I'm afraid it's all the same. The temperature's the same, the wind's the same, the shower activity all the same for another week. For surfers, well, it shifts somewhat. If you're on the south coast, into the southern corners. If you're on the north coast, get into the northern corners. At least the beaches have been cleaning up a little bit. They've been somewhat murky with all of that rain runoff, but it's been a pretty good run with swell, but it's pretty hard to get out of those winds at the moment, and quite warm in.
What's the fishing like?
Fishing's not too bad now that rain runoff is clearing.
Thanks, Gav.
Ahead, a royal task for our Queen of Racing.
Ultimate Pensioner Prize Home Bonanza. Become a property millionaire overnight. Plus, Australia's waiting list disgrace. Older patients forced to wait. A current affair tonight.
Finally tonight, punters at Sydney's Warwick Farm tomorrow will be in the presence of royalty.
Quite an honour.
Yeah, Gay will bring it home, that's for sure.
For sure.
And that's the latest news.
Don't forget our Friday night footy coverage begins straight after a current affair at 7:30.
From all of us here, have a great weekend. Good night.
Good night. Hooroo.